Welcome to IMV's Industry Insights. We'll be right back. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you to hit that like button. And also, if you want to subscribe to our podcast, hit that button down in the bottom right corner there, and that'll get you subscribed. We do appreciate you being here. Let's get started. Shahar, thanks for being with us today. And how about let's get things started with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely, Brian. Thank you for having me. So my name is Shahar. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Aquant. And beyond that, I've been in the service industry for over 20 years, mainly specializing in B2B software for the service sectors, working with all the big service companies in the world. Specifically about Aquant, I founded Aquant about 7 years ago together with my business partner, Asaf Melokna, really with a goal to transform the world of service through AI. And you can imagine 7 years ago, AI was really a banned word, and slowly it came back to our life. And prior to Aquant, I was actually spending about 15 years consulting service organizations about how to optimize their operations, mainly focusing around anything from the moment a machine breaks until the service technician actually fix the problem in the field. And what we saw back then is that there are many challenges and problems that are being facing across the service industry that were related to the skills gap issue. And that was the cue for us to really leave our cushy place and form a company that will leverage AI to help these organizations solve that problem.
Now we know about you. Tell us a little bit about Aquant and what you're doing in the AI space.
Sure, absolutely. So, as I said, Aquant has been around for more than 7 years, and today it's really one of the leading AI startups in the world with a very, very, very clear focus where we focus on providing personalized AI copilot platform that is built specifically for the service industry, which means any company that manufactures some kind of an equipment, sell it to customers, and then at the end needs to provide service on it, right? So it starts from a washer machine through medical equipment, through industrial equipment that is obviously the more complex side of it, and all the way into jet engines on airplane. Now, the overall goal of Aquant is really to become a true partner with these service organizations and service workforces in order to make sure that they are able to provide the best service to their customers, right? And if you think about what happened in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, specifically in the service industry, in the past people used to come to work for a company. They really became experts. They ended up working for the company for 30 years. They ended up knowing every bit and byte of a machine. And when the machine broke, they could stand next to the machine, listen to the noise, and know exactly what's wrong with the equipment. These people are now retiring. They're taking all that experience with them. And the new generation that comes in has no intention to stay for 30 years. Right? They're going to be there for 2-3 years. Then they're going to move to their next challenge in their life. And they don't even have the opportunity to build that experience. While on the other side, customer expectations are just raising, right? If in the past, all we cared about is that the technician would show up on time, now showing up on time is given. Now I'm expecting you to actually fix my problem when you show up, right? And if you show up and you don't know how to fix the problem, then the issue starts. So you actually need to provide better service than before with people that are less experienced than the people that you used to have before. What Aquant has been doing, and this is where we leverage AI for that, we're actually tapping into the company's data, which means everything that is related to the equipment and the service history. So we're taking manuals, machine manuals. We're taking troubleshooting guides. We're taking diagrams, and we're taking all the contents that the company has built over the years. We're also taking the service history. So looking at historical support tickets to see how customers reported their problems. What have the technician have done to actually solve that problem? Whether it's a corrective action on the machine, like calibration or an adjustment of something, or it might be a hard solution, which means they ended up replacing a part that actually solved the problem. When we combine these two, we get to a very high level of accuracy, predicting what is the right solution. But that's not enough. There's a lot of knowledge and experience that is just locked in the minds of these people with the 30 years of experience. And what Aquant was able to do is to tap into that tribal knowledge and turn it into data. So we're actually taking that tribal knowledge, making it the IP of the company, rather the IP of that person. And with the combination of service history, manuals, and tribal knowledge, we're able to provide a support system to these young technicians or people with less experience at the call center that will provide them answers as if the senior technician is standing next to them. So everybody can provide the best service at the highest level possible.
That's outstanding. Well, Aquant has released the 2024 Industrial Machinery Benchmark Report. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. So 7 years ago, when we founded Aquant, we couldn't use the word AI, right? It wasn't there. And we actually founded Aquant as a data company. We really looked at ourselves as a data company that specializes in service. And if you look at our employees, you will see tons and tons of years of experience in service, because it's really the domain expertise that specializes us. Because we looked ourselves as a data company, working with companies, looking at data, we ended up saying, okay, we learn a lot from that data, from all these different amazing companies that we are lucky to work with. Let's share some of that knowledge with the world. And we started by creating just a field service benchmark report that allows you to understand what differentiates between the top performing companies and the bottom performing companies in several KPIs, right? Like first time fix and resolution time and cost to serve, etc. Over the last year, we identified that we have so much data specifically on the industrial machinery that we can actually generate a specific report for that industry that will take all the information that we learn. We're looking at information from 40 different organizations. All of them are, the top tier companies in the world in industrial machinery that are together are actually hiring more than 70,000 technicians, right? So all that information comes into one report, and we try to identify what can you do to close that gap, right? Regardless of software, regardless of your investment, what is really the differentiator that allows these top performers to get to where they are today? And that report is really, a first of a kind report outlining these challenges and detail how organizations are actually combating these challenges in order to get to better performance.
Can you give us like a 30,000-foot overview of the findings from the report?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take, obviously the report is looking at different KPIs, but let's take the main ones that everybody are measuring, right? The KPI of first time fix. The KPIs of first time fix means that I ended up dispatching a technician, which is a very expensive activity. And what is the percentage of success of solving that in one visit, which means that the technician has all the parts he needs. He has all the knowledge he needs to solve the problem, and he has all the time he needs in order to fix that. Top performing organizations have 86% first time fix, which is enormous. It's an amazing thing, which means only 14% of the times they have to go, once more or maybe 2 or 3 times more. When we're looking at the bottom performers, their first time fix is 56%, which means that almost half of their jobs they're unable to solve in the first visit. And if a visit can cost, somewhere between 1,000 to 2,000, now every additional visit is additional cost that we're experiencing, not including the parts that you might replace that might not be relevant to the problem that you're facing. When we're looking specifically on industrial machinery, the diagnostic time becomes the main factor for these companies, because diagnostic time obviously immediately impact resolution time. And when we're looking at bottom performing organization, resolution time on average is 2 weeks, 2 weeks to solve a problem. When we're looking at the top performing organizations, then we're talking about an average of 3 days. Now think if you can take these 2 weeks and turn them into 3 days, how much additional capacity that frees up for the dealer, which allow them to spend more time with the customer, allow them to spend more time fixing problems, allow them to support more customers, and allow them to sell additional services that these technicians eventually are selling that are really the drivers of the revenue for these companies. And the skill gap also in the report, we see that it presents another challenge. Because even if you look on the bottom performers, performing companies versus the top performing companies, you will see that the bottom performing companies, the cost is normally 20% more than the top performing companies for the service department. But when you dig deeper into the individual workforce, you will see that for the bottom performers, the bottom performing employees within these companies are actually cost you more than double than your own top performing people. So if you can take everybody and not necessarily make everybody heroes, but really make them the average technician that you hold, now suddenly you're talking about a massive saving and a massive opportunity for additional revenue.
In your opinion, with your years in service and with Aquant, what do those findings mean for the industry?
So I think today everybody is starting to go into that and start to invest in that. The understanding that the issues are across the board. At the end, everybody are fishing for talent in the same pond. And the pond is getting smaller and smaller, right? So the solution is not just let's hire more people, because that's not going to solve our problem. Today, people understand and companies understand that they all have to adopt data-driven strategies, right? And find opportunities to, first of all, provide real-time monitoring to understand what is my performance so I can actually improve that, to boost uptime, so generate and manufacture better products, and provide better productivity on their service organizations that will then lead to a higher customer loyalty, right? Because today, when you look at it, the margins on selling the equipment is very low because it's a very competitive market. At the end, you win the customer on the service, and you win the customer on the quality of the service you provide, and you win the customer for years because of that. And this is where you actually starting to make your revenue. So really going into that, we see a big difference with companies that are adopting data-driven strategies. And I think specifically for the industrial machinery, we see that the generative AI that broke to our world in a storm with ChatGPT is now being adopted by these companies because it streamlines everything in the process. It automates a lot of the things, and it makes the simple stuff, or the stuff that, for example, our customers can solve on their own, irrelevant for assigning people for that. Because if the customer can ask the question and get the answer right away, listen, all you need to do is to add oil to the machine and it's going to solve your problem, then we just saved an enormous amount of capacity for our people that can actually focus on the very, very complex issues.
What is your customer profile? I mean, Are y'all providing this service to the service companies or to the manufacturers themselves?
So the majority of our customers, we start with the OEM. So we start with the manufacturer of the equipment. Uh, but especially in industrial machinery, it goes down to the dealer level, right? Um, the structure of service organizations might be very different between industries. For example, in the medical industry, normally you don't have third parties. All the service department is part of the OEM, and the OEM is the one providing the service. When we're talking about industrial machinery, we see more of a hybrid approach, or sometimes it's fully outsourced to the dealers. For Aquant, it doesn't matter because we learn from everybody, and we're able to take the knowledge from the OEM and then distribute it down to the dealers. We're able to learn across dealers and then make sure every dealer will have the access to all the collective knowledge so everybody can be at the same level.
With your experience in AI, how do you see that affecting the rate of skills training in the industrial machinery industry?
So I think it actually gonna solve the traffic jam that we're in right now, because I think what generative AI is doing, or AI in general, right? AI is not here to replace people. AI is here to help us be the best we can be at what we do, right? So I think the required skill level to go into a job is probably going to be lower, because I don't need to be an expert on the machine, and I can already take calls, and really all I need to do is to be able to read from the screen. Then suddenly it opens up the opportunity for more people. It means that the training can be shorter. If today it takes us almost 12 months to prepare a technician before we can send them on a solo trip to a customer, then now we're able to do it in 6 months, because we know that when we send him, even if he doesn't have all the answers, generative AI and service copilot is there to support them in order to close the gap for this, even if it's an issue that they're seeing for the first time.
So, what do you see as the impact of investment in the field service education, and how is that enhancing the efficiency of the problem diagnosis, going from that 2 week period to that 3 day period? How do you think that's affecting the industry?
Yeah, so I think specifically in the supply chain management, right? So going into predictive capabilities will allow OEMs to foresee, for example, supply needs, right? To foresee potential breaks in machines, and to be able to plan better into the future. And if you're able to predict the future, not to 100%, but you're able to allow to predict it to a certain level that will give you the confidence, or the level of confidence that you're looking for, it will allow you to smoother the operations, and it will allow you to do better resource allocations towards the problems.
Everybody and their brother seems to be coming out with AI tools now. Um, how are these service leaders or OEMs supposed to find one that works for them?
Sure. So I think today, at the beginning, AI, was very confusing, because you got tons of tools and you're not sure which one is right? And we all played with ChatGPT, and it's an amazing tool. The challenge of using generic AI tools for the enterprise industry, not specifically service, but for the AI industry, is that you need to take into account that when using, for example, ChatGPT, some of the responses are very generic. Some of the responses are unreliable. Some of them are lacking the nuance on the content, the context that you need for this. That problem becomes even bigger when you're talking about service, because um, if you're using a generic AI tool and you're asking a question, and let's say we're talking about a combine in the field, and the answer is not accurate because it's making up stuff, And then the technician gets to the field. He doesn't have the right tool with him. He doesn't really know how to fix the machine, because the answer that came back was actually a generic action that was invented on the spot. With Service Copilot in Aquant, what we're doing is we're saying we cannot make up stuff. We really need to be very, very accurate, and we call it bulletproof language processing. Because, and I'll take you to another industry. Some of our customers are med device companies. Sometimes there's a patient on the bed when the machine breaks. We cannot be just okay. It has to be super accurate, super reliable. And again, as if that guy with the 30 years of experience is actually doing the work, in order to be able to provide the right solution. Anything that is less than that just won't cut it, right? Every recommendation has to be based on the history. It has to be based on the condition of the machine, because even if the generic answer to a problem is replace the engine, what if that engine was replaced 2 weeks ago? You don't want to go and replace a new engine right away, right? It has to be specific to the machine. It has to be specific to the customer. It has to be specific to the information that you get about that piece of equipment, and it has to be specific to the technician. Because maybe one technician is really good at mechanical problem, the other one is really good at the electrical problems. Let's make sure that we're providing them the right guidance at the right level, based on their level of expertise, really to keep getting them better and better and better all the time.
Well, if any of our viewers are interested in Aquant and what they can do for them and their maintenance problems and service problems, how can they find out more about it?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, they're more than welcome to go to our website. It's aquant.ai, as simple as that, or just put Aquant on Google search or ChatGPT. And we'll be more than happy if they want to send us an email at hello@aquant.ai. We'll be more than happy to share with them what we learned, to share the benchmark report, even just share our experience with them, what we see in the market. And hopefully we'll be able to provide some kind of a value to them.
Great. Well, Shahar, I really do appreciate you being with us today. Wish you luck in the future as this whole AI monster gets bigger and bigger.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brian. It was really great speaking with you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Clayton Bruce, and I'm Marketing Manager for Business Solutions at Kohler Engines Division. So when it comes to Kohler's innovation strategy, and this goes to all our product groups, we maintain a hyper-focus on the end customer, what they need, what kind of challenges exist for them, and what problems we're trying to solve. We came to the conclusion that a lot of times when it comes to the engines and the operation of the equipment that we're going into, the professionals rely on reliability and uptime for their profitability. So if we could in some way take that information and produce a result that could help them achieve less downtime, we thought that that would be a way to deliver something desired in the marketplace. We came across Aquant and the services provided. We really appreciated the way that they were blending the knowledge between technician knowledge, which we have in-house, as well as with the AI capabilities. So more taking the 3C methodology to the next level and verifying it with actual human knowledge as well, so that we can improve the solution delivered to the end customer in a timely fashion that we would not have been able to do alone. The partnership with Aquant became evident and an easy step and foray for us into a world of artificial intelligence that we thought would provide a unique and competitive role for Kohler as we explore the future. It's a remarkable technology. It's able to process data and information that we just did not have the capability to do with skeleton teams in the past, and otherwise required a lot of data analysts and or engineers to be working and processing the information. It is capable of taking hundreds and hundreds of pages of manuals and service information and condensing it, making it easier for technicians to be able to find exactly what they're looking for, and then also providing the resources for them to be able to explore further should they need the additional knowledge. We're really excited about this tool going out to the market. Mainly, as I mentioned, it's one of our first AI projects, and to be able to start getting the feedback from the customers in hopes that we are delivering the kind of solution that they're looking for, we're really anticipating positive response. I think this unlocks not only the ability for newer technicians to get those questions answered quickly, but also to ask more of the questions that maybe they're not asking on a regular basis. In the end, we think that this will help as a starting point to addressing some of the technician knowledge gaps that exist in the field. But also as we look at providing one level of service across all of our services globally, can we also use this type of technology to raise the bar in service support? As we look at expansion capabilities and where we could go with this tool in the future, there's potential to be able to employ this in other unique ways, as well as other regions, to be able to address some of the needs of our customer base. We believe this is just the beginning of where we can employ AI in unique ways to be able to focus more on our customer experience.